TitleMatchNetwork.com.
You know, you'd leave from Memphis, you'd have to make interviews at 6 o'clock. You'd leave at 2 o'clock. That's a pretty long trip. But when you're making $1,500 a week, you know, I thought it was a good deal.
Was the road schedule hard?
Beg your pardon?
Was the road schedule hard there as far as traveling from the towns and stuff?
Well, you know, you had to get used to it. You had to get used to it like anything else. Okay, Nashville to Memphis was like 220 miles. It's all interstate, though. It's not like you're going 2-lane highways, you know. If you got somebody to drive, you can sleep.
Right.
It'd take you 3 hours or something like that to get there. And then Louisville was like maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes. Evansville, about the same. And Thursday, sometimes once a month, we go to Lexington, Kentucky, which is 200 miles, but it's all interstate. And schedule was, you had to get used to it. You had to get used to it. You know, you were traveling, you know, I've worked, I don't know how these guys work in WWF now. They're talking about they're so tired and they're so this and they're so that. Well, God, hell, we were all tired. One time, I swear to God, I thought I had like chronic fatigue syndrome. You know, boy, I was tired and boy, I had a headache. I, watching CNN, I was reading about chronic fatigue syndrome. I said, damn, I think I got chronic fatigue syndrome. Then I found out, hell, I was actually tired all the time. I was gone like 64 straight days one time. And sometimes I go home and I sleep 4 hours or go home for 4 hours and eat and see my wife and see my little girl. And then, hell, I was in the car and I was gone again. Run off. So you spend more time with the guys on the road than you do with your family. Right. Basically, I live long distance. Even though I was actually coming back and forth, I still live in long distance on the telephone with my family. But the schedule, you just had to get used to it. But where the schedule was brutal, was Mid-South. My God.
Bill Watts would work you guys to death, right?
Oh, he's a dictator. I love Bill Watts to death. But he told me one time, I said, you got to watch what you say about the trip to the promoter. He don't give a damn. He don't give a shit how long the trip's are. He just wants the guys to make it. You know, if you don't make it, then you raise hell. They take you from Houma, Louisiana. Now, this was one of my another short runs, too. Right. Hell, I couldn't take this. I was on the road so much in Oklahoma. I thought I was, goddamn, I swear to God, I thought I was going to die. I had visions of me dying in a flaming car wreck and, just in like 3 o'clock in the morning, like the worst time of the night anyway, when it's the darkest. But it take you from Houma, Louisiana to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's like 800 miles. And then he said, don't do no drugs. Don't do no drugs. Hell, how you going to make it if you don't do it?
Right.
You got to stop at those truck stops, get to
wake you up.
Oh, yeah. Drinking coffee, like a son of a gun. He told me one time, he said, when you get tired, guys, he had a big meeting. When you get tired, guys, he said, hell, just get out of the car and do some calisthenics. I said, well, you moron. I said, man. One guy, I was riding with a guy when I can't remember his name. He got out of the business. He couldn't take it,
Right.
So you meet a lot of guys in this business, and all of a sudden they disappear. You never know where they go. A guy may start Mid-South, or that's the first time you met him, but he never goes anywhere else. Hell, he can't take it. He just says, hell with this. Anyway, I'm riding down the road with him, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I swear he done locked it down. Threw me up against it. I said, what the hell? I thought he'd hit something. He said, man, I can't drive no more. He said he was having visions. He said the mailboxes were coming at me, and I thought it was a fence in front of me. I said, get the hell out of the way. I put him in the back, and I took us in.
That's great.
And that's when I learned not to sleep in a car.
Right.
Because, hell, you might not wake up.
Right.
So you sleep with some of these green guys, yeah, they go to sleep. Hell, you'd be dead.
It's true. What was Jackie Fargo like?
I knew Jackie, but I didn't know him that well. He was a funny guy, very talented, for the time, and, very flamboyant. Even he's flamboyant now, 75 years old. He can still go out there. He still does his little deal. And the people who remember him now are hell on life support and wheelchairs, But they go, oh, yeah, Jackie. But in his day, he was like the forerunner of Hulk Hogan, the forerunner, handsome Jimmy Valiant and The Rock, and, they all these guys, I don't know who you sell this tape to. But I guess a lot of these guys, you sell this tape to you, they see Rock and Austin and think like the wrestling business was only invented like 2 or 3 years ago. Well, this business has been going on for 40 or 50 years, and all these guys like Hogan and, The Rock and Goldberg and Austin, they all had predecessors. They all had forerunners, and Jackie Fargo was one of them. And he was a legend, and he was fun to watch. When you go back in the days when you only had those 2,000 or 3,000 seat arenas, and he was jamming them out, Right. He knew exactly what he was doing. Excellent timing and a great talker.
What was Jerry Lawler like back in the day?
Back what day?
Back in Memphis. Back
pre-day or the latter day?
Pre-day. Back in the 80s, early 80s.
Very creative. Very creative. But Jerry Lawler is not responsible for Jerry Lawler's success. You know, I mean, his talent, he's great. He's highly talented. Who's responsible for his success was Jerry Jarrett.
Right.
Because Jerry Jarrett had an idea one time. He says, listen, and this is when he first put Memphis on the map. It was in the late 70s. Jackie Fargo had gone, so, you know, it's when they left the void there. They needed somebody to fill that void that Fargo left. They needed that big superstar. So they said, and even though Lawler, Fargo was a babyface, right? Even though Lawler was a heel, you know, and this is even harder to build a heel in that superstar status. That's what Jerry did with Lawler. I think he started a deal like, you know, like Joe Lewis used to do Bomb of the Month.
Right.
Well, Lawler, he didn't do Bomb of the Week, but, you know, he didn't call it that. But that's what he did. And on these big shows, he was working his way toward Jack Briscoe. And he'd bring in all these names. And Lawler, bam, 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 knock them off. So when, you know,
right.
Finally, when the world champion got there, these people said, this son of a bitch has got a hell of a shot at dethroning this guy. And that's when he got over.
Right, right.
And he stayed over. And to his credit, you know, if you look at the way the business runs today, WWF, how many times are they in the Garden a year? 4 or 5 times is all, right? Mm-hmm. And Chicago maybe twice a year, and Dallas once a year, if that, or whatever. And they don't hit these towns every week. Memphis, we would hit Memphis 52. Let's say that one more time. Let's say this together. 52 times a year. They would hit Louisville 52 times a year. Nashville, Evansville, 52 times a year. We were there every week. And to do that, you got to have some talent. You got to have some creativity. And you got to have somebody who knows how to keep the interest of these people weekly. It's not like, see, WWF comes in and it's the circus coming in. That WWF, let's say this, let WWF come to Memphis, that big pyramid, they'll sell out. They'll do 21,000. Let them come back next week.
Right, right.
And what are they going to do? And then let them come back the next week, and then what are they going to do? They'll be getting out of that pyramid, and they'll be, eventually, believe me, as good as the WWF is, they'll end up in the flea market over there on whatever the name of that damn road was we used to go to.
Was it hard being so creative each week with new finishes and stuff like that?
We didn't have any new finishes. We just made them up. That's where I got the term Memphis rules. Hell, we just made it up as we went along.
Right.
Basically, finishes, you know, you see finishes, you see those Japanese finishes, and they just go on and on and on and on. And finally, by the time they get to you, you're going, you know, they really actually do great, great moves, you know. But a lot of it, to me, it doesn't mean nothing. I'd rather just, what stands out to me is all of a sudden, bam, you got closure to it. Now go do your other stuff. That's the way I've always operated. The TV was good. At Memphis TV at one time on Channel 5, it would do unbelievable ratings. Sometimes it'd do a 30 rating and a 70 share. And that's, you know, a 70 share, man. That means that every TV owned at that time, 70% of them are tuned to wrestling, right? That's what it means, a 70 share. And even though, and up to about here in Puerto Rico, just 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago, we had a 50 share, you know. But the TV was strong. Lance Russell, a legend. You know, Lawler was over. Dundee, he was over. I was over. The Fabs were over. I mean, the whole territory from top to bottom, you know, it was over. Actually, it wasn't a mini WWF, but structurally, the way it was, the infrastructure of the territory, you know, even Vince, when he has guys go to the ring, they're over. They might be in first match, but these people, he does something with them, and they're over. Same way with Memphis. But see, where Vince has 60 guys, we like had 12 or 14. And it's easier to me. It's always easier to get a character over if you have less guys than more guys. To me, less has always been better.
Right.
Less has been more.
TitleMatchNetwork.com